All right, good evening, everyone. Members of council, members of our staff, members of the public that are here in the chambers today, as well as those that are joining us at home. This is a regular council meeting, for the Township of Clearview. It's Monday, November the 13th, 2023. Council did meet briefly as an in-camera session, just brief, and then we recessed, had a little dinner, and we have returned at 5:30 to continue our council meeting. And at this time, I will begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people of Canada as traditional stewards and caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Teotihuacan, the Wendat, and is the home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples as part of an intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understandings and new relationships, and we ask the Creator for guidance in all that we do. As always, the land acknowledgement is said voluntarily, and it's my honor to do so as the Mayor of the Township of Clearview. Council will proceed with our agenda, which, as I said, item 1 was our closed session. We've returned from that. We're going to go right to item number 2, is approval of the agenda for 5:30. I'll read the recommendation with an amendment. Recommendation, be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the agenda dated November 13, 2023, as presented and amended, that PB 084, the report, has been removed and will be reappearing on our 27th of November meeting. A mover and seconder, Deneen and Walker, thank you. Any questions about the agenda? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you. And disclose your pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Does anybody have any interest in regards to today's meeting? Seeing none, if anything comes up during the meeting, please bring it forward. We'll deal with it right away. Council will move to public participation period, and I'll read the text. And we have, please be advised that comments and views expressed under public participation are not the views of the Township of Clearview Council or the administration. Public participation is limited to 15 minutes. Each person is limited to 5 minutes. Questions or comments are to be directed to the mayor, and questions shall not refer to personnel matters, litigation, or potential litigation, or planning matters that have already had a public meeting or any item considered confidential. Please remember to share the time with your fellow citizens. Before I open the microphone here, I want to confirm with the Deputy Clerk, have we received any digital responses today for the, no, none at this time, Madam Clerk and Deputy, thank you very much. So I will open the microphone for anybody to come forward from public participation period.
Good evening. This is a letter I sent to the local media titled "Under the Aegis of Confidentiality." Dear editor, confidentiality, a noun, the state of keeping or being kept secret or private. So Clearview Township has settled their case against music promoter Roxodus, yet associated costs are confidential. Why? What's to hide? The overinflated legal costs? Were they higher than the initial claim of $78,000 as per CTV Barry story? Why are taxpayers kept in the dark? Last year's election brought transparency to the forefront in most candidates' comments, yet a little over a year into their mandate, that famous Clearview cone of silence has dropped, and like the original TV series Get Smart, it has failed to retract itself. I'm not Kreskin, but will confidentiality be a key word when taxpayers find out about the Walker settlement agreement?
That's a lovely letter, Mr. Witzka. 2 points. One, the litigation matter is a litigation matter, and it did state that we're not to discuss that in the opening comments for public participation period. But I will offer you this. The statement that was released by the municipality under my signature confirmed that we have been fully recompensed. That's all we need to say about it, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
Pretty sad that
thank you very much. Your commentary is appreciated.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just glad that people at home can see how in the dark the township is to the taxpayer.
You know, the taxpayers Hey, that's it. I'll not have you back here again. Is there anybody else who'd like to come forward at this time for public participation period? Once, twice? Hope that didn't scare you off. Third time, thank you very much. Council, before we go on, I would like to state that I will not take that type of abuse from citizens who come forward during public participation period. And I'm going to be asking for a discussion with our HR manager and the CAO in regards to this very point. All right. That'll happen a later time, which, by the way, will be confidential. Council, I'm going to move on to item number 5, deputations and presentations. I don't believe we have any tonight, Madam Clerk. Public meetings, we do not have any at this time. And so we're going to move right to our approval of council meeting minutes. Recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the minutes of the October 25th, 2023 public planning meeting and the October 30th, 2023 regular council meeting as presented. I'll take a mover and seconder, Deputy Mayor and Mr. Broderick. Thank you. Any questions on the approval? Yes.
I see that, Your Worship, that we've removed the approval for the center line application. Was there a reason that approval was removed? Can we get an answer on that? Thank you.
You talking about the, sorry, you're talking about the agenda?
It's been removed from the agenda for the approval of our planning application.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Good question. And through you, Your Worship, we did remove that report for consideration tonight. We noticed that there was an omission in one of the schedules and council did not have all the information they needed to make that decision. So you'll see it at the next council meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what we did during approval of the agenda. So that's so yeah, you have me mixed up. Sorry.
It's been removed.
Yeah, it's going to be on there for the 27th. Thank you. Anything further on the approval of the meeting minutes? Seeing none, approval of the minutes. All those in favor? Okay, minutes carry. Thank you. Sorry, Paul. Had me mixed up there too. All good. We're going to move to item number 8. Business arising from the minutes. Anything from the minutes? No. Okay. Communications from the mayor. We have a report from our in-camera session. All right, council, item 9.1. I've got 2 recommendations I'll be looking for a mover and seconder for. The first one is in regards to the Nottawa Hall Board. We have an appointment of a volunteer to join the board. Recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby appoint Steve Walmsley to the Nottawa Hall Board and direct staff to amend appointment bylaw 22-101 with the bylaw to be brought forward for approval at the November 27th, 2023 council meeting. Moved by Ms. Deneen, seconded by Mr. Beelan. Any questions on that? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. Walmsley. The next item underneath 9.1 is also discussed from in camera. It's about newspaper advertising and distribution agreement. Recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby direct the CAO to act in accordance with the direction provided in closed session regarding the negotiations for newspaper advertising and distribution. Can I have a mover and seconder, please? Mr. Deputy Mayor and Mr. MacArthur, thank you. Any questions on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you so much. Council, we're going to move to 9.2, County of Simcoe Bursary Program Recipient Update. First of all, just a congratulations to Justin Robotham. He was the recipient of that, and terrific that people in our community are taking advantage of the application. It's not just granted, you have to apply for it, and there's a board that reviews it. So I thought that was great that it was done. Go ahead, Paul.
We know which, does anybody know which row bottom he's connected, which Justin, whose parents are?
That's all the information I got too.
Yeah,
So I'm
does
kind of
anybody know
wondering.
Justin Rowbottom? I think he's a Creemore resident, but Justin,
Anyway,
you know? Yeah. Okay, Andy's boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was.
nevertheless,
It's nice. It's somebody from Clearview.
it is. It's nice. And it's also nice that students and young people take advantage of that when the bursary is offered. And as I said, it's an application process. They have to apply. It goes through a board review and not everyone gets it. So quite significant that Justin was able to get it. So congratulations. What else do we have? Nothing else underneath communications from the mayor at this time. Sounds good. We're going to go to county reports for information. There's several items on here. Advisory from Simcoe County Museum commemorating the Remembrance Month with virtual lecture series. And there are still some series lectures happening coming up. Information's on the website for the county museum. County Aurelia campus opens application process for new affordable housing rental units in Aurelia. And the county launches the age-friendly community survey. I want to speak briefly on that. At the front counter here at the administration center, when the office is open, there are brochures or information about that. The survey is right there, and you can fill it out and then drop it off right into the box that's right here. That'll help answer some of the questions about the age-friendly community survey. Otherwise, you can actually go online through the county website, and you can find it online there too. So I just want to mention that it is available here at the administration center. County invests in the build-up residential hospice care. That was a really nice contribution to several hospice organizations around Simcoe County. So that was really great. Do you have anything you want to add, sir?
Just wanted to add about the hospice situation. There's certain times you'll see applications come through, and it's a timing of funding. Most of these applications are multi-year contributions, and we are always watching out. Obviously, Hospice Georgian Triangle in Collingwood is our main benefactor for our community. But you also have to remember, it's like we're going through with the Aurelia housing that's opening up. We don't control always where people go to. So we do have people going to Barrie. We do have people going elsewhere. So as a county, we always support whichever, all the hospices within the community. And as I mentioned previously, whenever there's federal funding or provincial funding, it's open to everybody. So certain ones we do our hospice are generally for Simcoe County. So thank you.
Excellent work. Further, council, the deputy mayor and I will be attending county council tomorrow. We've got a pretty full agenda in our committee session. We will be reviewing once again a report from the county finance department in regards to the county budget. And so that's a bit of work. I suspect we're going to have a very long day tomorrow, just letting you know. And we look forward to that work, getting that done. I don't think there's anything else from county at this time.
The only thing I'll add is a lot of people have to be aware they are coming out with their transportation strategies right now. We got a 200-page report we're studying right now, and it's a second go around of it. Please take a look at it. Clearview has been some of their potential, and it's a consultant that's been hired, is looking at different side roads, at different roads for emergency bypasses. They're looking at roads to upgrade for bicycle paths. They're looking at all these things. So please take a look at it. It's online, it's available. And 2 cents. Some of this stuff is beyond 2051. Some of it's 40. Like there's some of this stuff is 25-year deals, but there's a lot of stuff that they're looking at currently and identifying their priorities. So please take a look at it and see if there's something we're missing and what we can do for it to lobby for it. So thank you.
I would normally do this underneath announcements, but because we're talking about county, I do want to say one little bit of sad news. We received news on Friday that the deputy mayor of the town of Midland passed away quite suddenly. Mr. Jack Cotton, wonderful man, very, very warm gentleman. And he was very active at our county council meetings as a member of county council. In fact, he sat directly in front of me, and so I'm certainly going to miss him. It was a quite sad situation, but he did make quite a contribution over his lifetime in the Indigenous communities, as well as many volunteer organizations and things that he pushed. And his most recent project he was working on was the UNESCO project to designate Georgian Bay as a UNESCO geopark. And so he's working on that, or was working on that with a group of people. But condolences to his wife and family, and we're certainly going to miss him at county council. Go ahead.
Just wanted to add one thing about Jack, and he was a very strong member of the Indigenous community. But one of the things he had spearheaded from a county point of view, we're all well aware of our obligations and awareness to the Indigenous family we have in our community. We are looking at one of our things in our budget in the coming year was to start an Indigenous I won't say committee, which can be used by all our townships in our community, being the 16. So we as a township don't necessarily have to do it. We do our land acknowledgement, but we are looking at what we can do further in the future. So
yeah, Jack was a part of that committee.
Yes, he was.
Just got it started and will be difficult shoes to fill.
That's right.
All right, council, we're going to move on to where are we at? We're going to go to our ward reports. Mr. Walker, my arrow is now facing the other direction. See, I've got an arrow here now. Mr. Broderick, I'm going to allow you to go first, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Starting with November the 4th, attended the Birds and the Bees reading at the Duntroon Hall. That was quite the evening. We always enjoy that. November the 8th, attended the Clearview budget meeting number 1. And on the 10th, attended the Sunnydale Corners Small Hall meeting. Terry Vachon gave a report on the renovations. Progress has actually been very good. And it's expected at this time to be finished late December. November 11th, attended the Remember and Stay service in Singhampton. And that brings me up to date.
Thank you so much. And thank you for representing Clearview at the Singhampton Cenotaph. Hello, Mr. MacArthur. How are you today? Very good, Your Worship. Go right ahead.
Just a couple of things. Remembrance Day on Saturday, of course. So great turnout in Creemore, and glad to see the great attendance. And secondly, Creemore Coyotes, my now favorite hockey team, are a complete 6-0 on the season.
I know, it's impressive.
We're pretty proud of them so far. Thank you.
They're doing really well, really well. I'm going to skip by you, Deputy Mayor. Hello, Ms. Deneen.
I wasn't expecting it that quick, so.
Okay.
November 4th, we saw in Ottawa a very well attended market at the Ottawa Hall. The street was lined with cars. It was great. Clearview firefighters, Station 6 and the 1st Ottawa Scouts held their 4th annual pumpkin drop on November 5th. It was a Sunday. It was a great success. The Scouts sold out of their hot dogs in record time. Further to that, the Clearview firefighters are still conducting their smoke and CO2 inspections. So anybody that has any questions or they want to request a check, just send them a message and they'll stop by. I think they're still doing them for this week and maybe next week as well. Friday, I attended the Remembrance Day assembly at the Ottawa School. It was really, really good. A friend has 3 of her children that play drums with the Ben Gorham Highlanders. And so we had bagpipes and 4 drummers. It was a real proud mama moment for her, I'm sure. And on Saturday, I was honored to lay the wreath on behalf of the township at the 100-year young Collingwood Cenotaph. The weather wasn't great, but it was really, really nice ceremony. And I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for doing that. It is an honor. Well done. Thank you. Mr. Beelan, how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you, Your Worship. November 8th, of course, I attended the budget meeting with all of us. November 11th, I attended the Remembrance Day service in New Lowell, and I was honored to be able to lay the wreath for Clearview. It's the largest crowd I've ever seen in New Lowell. The weather was great, not like in Ottawa, and it was on a Saturday, so it was nice to see so many people in attendance. November 8th, I also attended a BEST meeting in Brentwood. This was put on by APA Power, and there's going to be another meeting on November 14th put on by Liberty Power. Clearview has nothing to do with putting these meetings together, advertising them, anything like that. There's a lot of confusion out there. People are thinking that we're doing it. No, these companies are putting on public meetings. They're the ones distributing the letters. They're the ones organizing the meeting. November 8th, it was terrible weather, but we still had about 20 people show up and ask a lot of very good questions. And unfortunately, there is very few qualified people there that showed up to answer them. So a lot of people that were supposed to be there from APA couldn't make it because of the weather. So I suggested that they have another meeting. They informed me today that they will put on a second meeting, but it will be a virtual meeting. I don't know when that is yet. So a reminder, there's a meeting November 14th. It's Liberty Power in Brentwood, 5:30 to 8. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you very much. And again, thank you for representing us at the New Lowell Legion. And I was able to drop by the Legion after being up here in Stainer. It was great to see the president and the vice president and have a really good conversation with them about what a great event it was. So thank you very much, Mr. Beelan, for doing that. Mr. Walker, before you go on, I do want to say that during my comments here at the Stainer Cenotaph, I neglected to say you. I mentioned each one of our counselors, that they were all at various locations, and I did not mention that you were there. So my regrets and my apologies, but I know that you were always there, and I appreciate you very much for being there to support our cenotaph ceremony.
Well, your worship, don't feel so bad, because if they couldn't see me standing right there at the front, and then they have to go get their eyes checked, because I was right pretty well dead front and center.
Yeah.
On the one side. So there's no problem there.
I think people saw you.
I just want to say that I was very fortunate on Saturday, November the 4th, to attend Alistair McDonald's 100th birthday in Stainer, former mayor of Stainer, and believe it or not, before my time. And all I'm going to say is that he's one of Stainer's finest gentlemen. And I'll leave that thought with you. On the 6th of November, I'm part of the Chamber Rental Committee, and we met, and we're busy working through that process. On the 7th, I'm part of the Library Review Committee, and we are busy working on our hours of operation for the Clearview Library. So we're busy working on that. On the 8th was the budget, and on the 11th, I attended the Stainer Remembrance Day service.
Thank you so much for doing that. About Alistair McDonald, just to point out, he is indeed a wonderful gentleman here in our community. And on the 11th, he presented a wreath at a small cenotaph they have at the actual Legion building, and it was quite nice to see that as well. So a real gentleman, and it was a pleasure to be in his presence as the former mayor of Stainer. So it was nice to see him. Thanks very much. Again, I just want to thank everybody for participating in Remembrance Day. I want to throw it over to Paul Van Staveren, who, of course, is going to tell us about what he did on Remembrance Day, which I think is pretty interesting. Go ahead.
I'll start first by saying we've participated in our renovation committee and our budget committee, but that's for some is very dry, but it is something we've got halfway through our presentation, which is good. This past Thursday, there was a celebration for our volunteers.
Yes.
That the mayor and myself attended at the Creemore Springs Brewery for the volunteers from the small halls. And it was so nice to see people there. They got hosted to a nice, simple celebration. Just mention, I don't know if you were going to mention it, Doug, but one of our longtime employees, Lily White, who's been very involved with our committee there, will be retiring. She's almost alluded for this will be her last year, but great lady, and she's pulling the plug, we'll say, and been a great volunteer to help Amy and the group, and so we'll miss her. That was on Thursday. This Saturday, I had the opportunity to represent both the county and the township at Base Borden. And for anybody who's never been to Base Borden for one of these celebrations, it was very interesting. It's very much a military base ceremony. They bring the commander of the base in and everything else. It's not as formal, it's not as informal as we have here in Clearview. And I can tell you, as much I appreciate it, I missed the Clearview ones because you get all the wreaths and everything else. But we sat there, and it was very nice still to see. But it was just on the gates where you come into the base, so it was nice to see. And of course, there are other representatives of the other communities we have. And it was a good show, but the spirit is still in Clearview.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Yes.
One thing I just want to talk to the constituents about, I got a call today. I got a lot of calls today, but one of the calls I got today, there's people going around knocking on doors, looking for money to get support for the Israeli-Gaza conflict. Not sure who they are, not sure what they are, but there was some people who got picked on. So please be careful. We all will know there'll be people jumping on the bandwagon. And apparently in the phone call I got, there was 3 people knocking at the same person's door. So they were just asking for money. So please be careful. I'm not saying it's a good charity. I'm not saying it's a bad charity. All I'm saying is be careful. So thank you.
Good call. Thank you very much for that. All right. We have talked about Remembrance Day plenty. I do want to acknowledge that here in Stainer, it was great to have both a live piper, Mr. Parton is often there. We had a bugler play. Mr. McDonald was there. And then we had a choir sing, which was spectacular. And it was very, very touching as they sang in Flanders Fields. I'd never heard it sung so beautifully like that in a beautiful harmony way. So it was really touching. So well done, everyone. What a great day it was to recognize our veterans. So thank you very much. And as I said at the end of my speech, thank a veteran. Okay, guys, I'm going to move on then to our department reports. First one is building and planning. We have the building department activities for July and September 2023. Our chief building official is here with us. Are you going to sneak over there? Or are you just going to stay there?
I'll stay here.
Stay right there. That's fine with me. Council, I'll read it. Look for a mover and seconder. Recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PB 075 2023. Building department activities for July through September 2023, dated November 13, 2023 for information. Mover, please. Mr. Broderick, seconded. Mr. Walker, thank you. I will turn to Mr. McLeod. Do you want to comment on anything about your report?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a brief comment. It really is just illustrating that we continue to have a strong year. It's not as strong as the previous year, but the numbers are still comparatively strong. And you'll notice when you look at some of the stats that August in particular was quite busy. And that's really all I.
All right. Does a member of council have any questions for Scott or anybody in the planning department on this report? Members of council? All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Scott, for your report. And members of council, I've read the motion. We have a mover and seconder. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. All right. As I mentioned, PB 084 has been pulled from this agenda. We'll see it on the 27th. So we're going to move over to PB 085. This is the scope pre-servicing agreement in regards to Manortown homes, which is something we kind of expected we would be getting, council, as a result of the project moving forward there along at Manortown. I'll read the recommendation. I'll look for a mover and seconder. Recommendation be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PB 085 2023. It's a scoped pre-servicing agreement with Manortown Homes Inc. dated November 13, 2023. And item 1, it approves bylaw 2398, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute the scoped pre-servicing agreement upon confirmation from municipal staff that all requirements necessary for the execution of the scoped pre-servicing works are completed to the satisfaction of the municipality, and to allow for a portion of the works to be constructed prior to the final approval for the draft plan approved Manortown Homes Inc. plan of subdivision. I'll look for a mover and seconder. Deneen, thank you. MacArthur, thank you very much. Being a pre-servicing, I'm not sure if that's Public Works or is that straight to Planning Department. Nick, thank you for putting your hand up. I didn't ask beforehand, so thanks very much. How are you, Nick?
Not too bad. Thank you, Worship.
Good. Got any comments you'd like to add on the report?
Just a point of clarification on it. So this is actually executing a bylaw for the mayor, approving a bylaw for the mayor and clerk to execute the pre-servicing agreement once the applicant has cleared all requirements. So while the applicants are working on several requirements that are more specified within the report itself, they aren't completed to date. However, while they're expected over the next several weeks, the idea was to bring this forward so the execution of those works, which may start as early as November 30th, are not delayed by any kind of future council scheduling. So that's why it's before us tonight. But with the approval, you would be executing the actual agreement until staff have confirmed all requirements have been addressed to our satisfaction.
All righty. Any member of council with any questions to Nick? Go ahead, Paul.
Thank you, Your Worship. Nick, in a couple of these reports, you've brought a few terminology or terms out that I don't know what, so if you could explain. Two words are scoped, and also we've seen the word redlined a lot lately. Just for those of us who aren't the brightest, if you could explain those two terms.
Absolutely. So through your worship. So in terms of the scope component of this, so this is actually isn't a full-on pre-servicing agreement for the overall development. It's a scoped agreement because it's primarily related to the sewage pump station that's to be constructed on the Manortown lands. And typically there wouldn't be any more pre-servicing work done. However, as access and utilities are required to that site, which is within the overall Manortown Home subdivision. We do have to construct a portion, or the initial portion of Manor Drive, the first segment of road into it. So that's why it's scoped. So it's not the overall pre-servicing works that are being completed this time. It's just a portion of the work. So that's the scoped component of it.
We're giving them permission just to do part of the work.
Correct.
Approving.
Primarily related to the sewer pump station. That's not only required for the Manortown subdivision itself, but primarily for the to service the unserviced southeast quadrant of the related to the Sunnydale Street works. The pump station is tied to that as well.
So will that allow our building department or will they be allowed to inspect it as well? Or
Yeah,
is
so
that-
absolutely. So as a part of the agreement, we are having access granted to municipal staff, obviously for the construction and operation of that pump station while it's in perpetuity. And then once the actual subdivision is constructed and because it is within a stormwater management block, that block will be dedicated to the municipality and become our land and similar with the road network. However, in the interim, before that registration process takes place, the agreement does allow access for municipal staff. To
for
access.
legal inspections?
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Well, good.
Oh, and sorry, there was a red line.
Red
component.
line. Can you just give people a
Yeah,
people
so
of
that's totally separate. So basically the red line applications that we've been receiving are similar for plans of subdivision. So something that would have been previously draft plan approved. If an applicant comes in or the property may be sold and a new developer has a different idea or they want to change the number of lots around a road configuration, they can apply for red line revision to that subdivision. So the underlying approval still remains with it, but they are allowed to redline it and make some changes to the number of units or the layout or the park location of that type of nature. But it's unrelated to the current application, but the redlining is an application the applicants can apply for, mainly for subdivision approvals.
You use a red pen is what you're saying. Okay.
Traditionally, yes.
Traditionally.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just a further clarification, of course, red line suggestions from the developer need to come back to council.
Absolutely. So they do go through staff for review and then obviously for council for approval.
Yeah, thank you. All right, those are good questions. Members of council, yes, go ahead, Mr. MacArthur.
Yeah, I just wanted, you just said in your report about Manor Drive, but on the map, it's showing Siddell Drive goes right to Sunnydale Street. Is that a?
Yeah, so this one's a bit of a historic issue with it. So it previously was Siddell Drive. Those lands that was part of a previous plan of subdivision. So those lands have been stopped up and closed and actually conveyed back to the owner. And they'll be their draft plan as Manor Drive. And then once registered, it will come back to municipality. So yes, it is confusing because some of the drawings do show the old reference information, but it is Manor Drive. That's correct.
That's right. Thank you. Members of council, anything further? Good questions. Thank you very much, Nick. Appreciate your help. Council, you've got a mover and seconders. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you. All right. Okay, we're going to go over here to Quebec Street. Part law control exemption. Recommendation, be it resolved, the council of the township of Clearview hereby receive report PB 086/2023. Part law control exemption for 229, 301, 317, and 319 Quebec Street in Clearview, dated November 13, 2023. And item 1 approves the part law control exemption bylaw 23-100 being presented to council for approval at the November 13th, 2023 meeting for the lands municipally known as 299, 301, 317, 319 Quebec Street in Clearview. Okay, a mover and seconder, please. Looking around, Mr. Broderick, seconder, Mr. Beelan. How about that? Thank you, sir. Is that you, Nick? Thank you, sir. Nick, is there anything more you want to add to this?
Not really, Your Worship. It's pretty straightforward. Just to note that they're currently seeking to further subdivide 4 lots into 8 semi-detached dwellings. The dwelling units are actually there currently. This application was formally sever those into individual lots and units for semi-detached use.
Okay. Council, any questions to Nick or other staff? No. All right. Council, thank you very much. You've got a motion in front of you with the mover and seconder. I am prepared to call the motion. Those in favor? That carries. Thank you. And then the addendum to development agreement for the similar properties. Recommendation, be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PB 087 2023, the addendum to the development agreement 299, 301, 317, and 319 Quebec Street in Clearview, dated November 13, 2023. Item 1 approves bylaw 2399, being presented to council for approval at the November 13, 2023 meeting, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute the development amendment agreement specific to lands located at 299, 301, 317, and 319 Quebec Street in Clearview. Mover and seconder, please. Deneen, thank you. Mr. Walker, thank you. Nothing further, Nick, I don't imagine. Yes.
No, not this time, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Members of council, got any questions to Nick or staff on this? Yes, go ahead.
I'm just making sure, Nick, I saw on the property lines, it's 9 meters, these properties for a width for the properties.
In terms of each lot being created, yeah. So technically, that is 7.6 is the minimum. I believe it's 10 meters is the minimum width being proposed right now. It does show on the plans that's 8.5, and then there is a 1.5 meter easement.
Yes.
But it's just a 1.5 meter easement, so that actually is the entire frontage of it. So it's a 10 meter frontage.
Right, and it appears one of the big things we're starting to have issues with is parking. I want to make sure we have enough land for these people. So it seems like this side has identified it the way they're laying out the property. So keep an eye on that, please.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Good comment. Members of council, anything further? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Nick. Council, you've got a motion in front of you with a mover and seconder. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That also carries unanimous. Thank you. All right. Over to the sign variance. Signs. Sign, everywhere a sign. PB 088, sign variance for 6572 Highway 26. Recommendation. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PB 088 2023, a sign variance for 6572 Highway 26, dated November 13, 2023. And item 1, the council approves the variance to sign bylaw 20-43 for the property located at 6572 Highway 26, permitting the following varied signs specification for a home occupation ground sign. Okay, A, the maximum display area be 1.5 meters squared per side. B, maximum height being 3.7 meters. C, the base of the sign shall be planted with landscaping having a minimum mature height of 2 meters, or to the bottom of the display area, whichever is lower. Item D is other than the sign display area and required landscaping, the area between the sign standards shall be left void of decoration, ornament, or other item not integral to the structure of the sign. Item E, all provisions of the bylaw not contrary to these site-specific regulations shall continue to apply. Can I get a mover and seconder to get this on the table? Mr. Broderick, Mr. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Madam Clerk, is that something that you're going to discuss?
Thank you, Your Worship. Actually, it's the Director of Planning and
the
Building.
Director of Planning? Okay, I was unsure because I know signs sometimes fall in your area as well. Again, another example of the cooperation between departments. Go ahead, Amy. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Your Worship. So happy to answer any questions on this one. It is a bit of an anomaly coming to council. So essentially the proponent wishes to erect a sign for their home occupation, a home office that's larger than what is permitted in the township sign bylaw. So we sort of reviewed it on a site and issue specific basis. And we came up with a bit of an argument as to why it won't cause any negative impact. And we, as you've just read, we sort of applied a couple of conditions to ensure that the visual impact would be mitigated for if council wishes to allow for that larger sign. So again, happy to answer some questions if you have any.
All right. You're right. It is a bit of an anomaly, but I like the fact that it's very specified as to exactly what will be allowed or what would be permitted if this motion passes. Members of council, any questions? Yes, go ahead, Paul.
I just want to confirm with the Director of Planning. I understand the MTO has already approved this application as far as the jurisdiction, I will say. So we are just confirming their jurisdiction, correct?
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, and through you, your worship. Yes, the MTO has been consulted on the proposal and they have no comment, no objection.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Walker, I think I saw your hand.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. My question was just answered. I was going to ask about MTO. Thank you.
All right, good show. Members of council, any other questions? Nothing further? All right. Again, this is a little bit unusual, just that sign variances like this, if they're very, very minimal, can be handled through the clerk's office and through the staff. But this is a good example of bringing it back with a whole outline of changes. Okay, members of council, you've got yes, go ahead.
I want to just comment saying that it's important that the public understands there is bylaws in place, and it's nice to see an application come forward, even though it's an amendment to one, that it's done properly and legally, because we do have enough people who just put a sign up and don't do it properly. So yeah, it's important. Thank you.
Good commentary. Absolutely. All right, council, you've got a mover and seconder. I'm prepared to call the motion. Those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. We're going to go to Finance Department. I believe Kelly, our director, is here. There she is. Hello, Kelly. Welcome aboard. I'll read the recommendation. I'll look for a mover and seconder. It's report FIN 018. Recommendation, be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report FIN 018 2023. It's section 357 property tax refunds, and they're dated November 13, 2023. And item 1, the council authorizes the treasurer through sections 357 and 358 of the Municipal Act to process the cancellation, reduction, or refunds of property taxes for certain properties in the amount of total $10,966.81 for the years 2021 through 2023, inclusive as outlined in Appendix A to this report. Okay, I'll take a mover and seconder to get it on the floor. Mr. Walker, Mr. Beelan, thank you very much. Kelly McDonald, there she is, our treasurer. Maybe you can just outline some of the reasons that these reductions or these refunds are being offered.
Thank you, Your Worship. For the most part, these are standardized refunds that come through for, say, damage due to fire. A building is completely demolished. The property becomes vacant. So we'll receive the information from MPAC, and the section 357 will temporarily turn the property into a vacant property, refunding the property taxes for a residential building, for example. It's pretty standard. Council see these once or twice a year, depending on how many come through. But it is a courtesy to come to council to say, hey, here's what's happening.
All right, thank you very much. And obviously they'll be reviewed by the tax department as well as by the owners themselves. If they're concerned, they can come and speak to the tax department about these. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Your Worship. Absolutely.
Okay, members of council, do you have any questions to the treasurer? Yes, go ahead, Mr. MacArthur.
Yeah, through the mayor. Kelly, just wondering on the ones that are tore down, and I believe one of these in particular, I think a new house has now been established. Do we follow up, or is it up to MPAC to notify us when the new house is assessed?
Through Your Worship to Councillor, we work with MPAC and we work with the building department. So we'll hear when the building demolition permit is issued. If the building permit is reissued, we'll contact MPAC. Building department regularly sends that information through. So it's sort of a 3-tier approach where we're back and forth between all of us. And then once occupancy is there, again, the residential tax rate will apply.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Did I see Councillor Beelan? Yes, go ahead, Marty.
Thank you, Your Worship. Kelly, I'm wondering, is there a limit, statute of limitations? How far back can somebody go to do this? Just in case somebody asks us, we know.
Through Your Worship to Councillor Beelan, it's a 3-year limitation. So if the property's been demolished within 3 years, MPAC hasn't picked it up within that 3-year time frame, they'll go back and pick it up. After that, it's done.
A 3-year limit on it. Is that right?
You're correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for the question, Marty. That's a good question. Members of council, you got anything else? Any other questions you'd like to ask to the treasurer? No? Good report. All right. We do this every once in a while. This is a good one that shows from 2021 right through till today. So that's pretty good. Members of council, you've got a motion with a mover and seconder. I am prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? Carries unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, council, I'm going to move on in our agenda. Let's see here. We have item number, we're going straight to bylaws. That's right. We're moving to the bylaw section this time. First bylaw is regarding 978367 Side Road, Nottawasaga. I'll read the bylaw, then I'll look for a mover and seconder. Bylaw number 2396 is zoning bylaw amendment for 978367 Side Road. Be resolved that bylaw 2396 being a bylaw to regulate the use of land and character, location, and use of buildings and structures on lands municipally known as 978367 Side Road, Nottawasaga, Clearview, and legally described as north part of Lot 6, Concession 12, formerly Nottawasaga, now in Clearview, be presented and read a first, second, and third time, finally passed. 13th day of November, 2023. I'll take a mover and seconder on the bylaw. Mr. Broderick, is there a seconder? Ms. Deneen, thank you very much. Members of council, if you have any questions. We had a report on this at our last meeting. Yes, questions?
I just want to talk to it a bit because it's created quite a controversy in this community. And it's not as a lot of people have thrown out that it's a severance. It's not a severance. It's a use situation of the property. I've been hit up. I'm very strong on agriculture. I will support agriculture wherever we can. And there's certain proponents of this application. I think it's a lot of the public has to recognize we are trying our best to protect agriculture. Saying that, we have heard in our public presentations in the past, we had an hour-and-a-half meeting here for people to present their issues, and we've heard them. And I think it's very important that we will be continuing to hear them and hear the recommendations of our planning staff in regards to these applications. So I just wanted to speak to that a bit, that we are hearing what people are to say. But as a counselor, I am very adamant I want to protect agriculture. So thank you.
Great, good comments. Thank you very much. Council, again, in bylaw section, we always look for any questions for clarification. Any questions? Questions or clarification? Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had clarification last time, but I just want to bring it up again that there cannot be any further severances to this property after this application is approved or not approved.
Could I have an answer from our planning department?
Thank you for the question, and through to the mayor. That's correct. This is prime agricultural land, and they can certainly make application, but it's not supported through provincial policy statement. Thank you.
All right. For the final time, is there any other questions to the bylaw? All right, council, you've got a bylaw in front of you. We have a mover and seconder. I'm prepared to call the motion. Those in favor? That bylaw passes unanimously. Thank you. We're going to move to our next bylaw, 2397. 2397 is, I'm on the wrong page on that one. It's on the second page. Sorry. Yeah, here it is. Recommendation, be it resolved that bylaw 2397 being a bylaw to regulate the use of land and the character, location, and use of buildings, structures on lands municipally known as 978367 Side Road, Nottawasaga, Clearview, and legally described as a north part of Lot 6, Concession 12, formerly Nottawasaga, now in Clearview, be presented and read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed on the 13th day of November, 2023. I'll look for a mover and seconder on this bylaw, please. Is there a mover? Deneen, thank you. Is there a seconder? Mr. MacArthur, thank you very much. Again, any questions to the bylaw? During bylaw section, we look for questions. Any questions? Oh, yes, Mr. Beelan.
So these special events, they have to apply for a special event permit each time, correct?
As I understand it, that's correct. I'll look to our planning department. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
So my understanding is that there's one special event per year. So if they were to apply for two, we could deny the second one, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
I'll look to the clerk to confirm that. Does that make sense to you, Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Your Worship. I would have to check our bylaw for special events. I don't think we limit the amount of special events someone can apply for, but we do have delegated authority through bylaw enforcement and the clerks to issue those permits as long as it corresponds with our rules set out in our bylaw. So I can take a look right now if you'd like.
All right. Well, you could let us know before the end of the meeting when we do our confirmatory, if there's any conflict to that. Good point though, Mr. Vila. Thank you. Anybody else with a question for the bylaw? Members of council looking for any questions to the bylaw? All right, seeing none, members of council, you have a motion or a bylaw in front of you with a mover and seconder. I'm prepared to call the bylaw. Those in favor? And that carries unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, council, moving on in our bylaws, the Manortown bylaw, which is 2398. Recommendation be it resolved that bylaw 2398 being a bylaw to authorize entering into a scoped pre-serviced agreement with Manortown Homes Inc. be presented to read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 13th day of November 2023. Can I have a mover and seconder on that? Mr. Van Stavern and Mr. Broderick. Thank you. Any questions to that bylaw? Seeing none, you've got a mover and seconder on the bylaw. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That bylaw carries unanimous. Thank you. All right. Next bylaw is our development agreement for 299 and 301 and 317, 319 Quebec Street. Okay. Recommendation be it resolved that bylaw 2399 being a bylaw to authorize entering into an amendment agreement between Manor Cove Estates Inc. and TH Stainer Developments BT Corp., the owner, and the corporation of the Township of Clearview for lands located at 299, 301, 317, and 319 Quebec Street, Clearview, be presented to read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 13th day of November 2023. Can I have a mover and seconder, please? Mr. Walker, thank you. Mr. Broderick again, thank you. All right, any questions on this bylaw regarding the amending agreement? It's amending an amendment. It's like I need water. Anybody with any questions? All right, council, you've got a mover and seconder on the bylaw. I'm prepared to call it. All those in favor? That bylaw carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Another bylaw. Here we are at number 123. Is that correct? Or we got 99? No. 100. That's next. 23-100 part lot control exemptions for lots 15 and 17, which is the north side of Quebec Street, Plan 103. Be it resolved that bylaw 23-100 being a bylaw to exempt lands from part lot control provisions of the Planning Act be presented to read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 13th day of November 2023. Mover, please. Mr. MacArthur and Mr. Broderick, thank you very much. And any questions on this one? Questions on this one? Council, not seeing any? Council, you've got a mover and seconder on the bylaw. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That bylaw carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Council, we're at notice of motion and new business. Is there any notions? I don't think there is today. That's good. And we're going to move to our confirmatory bylaw. I'll give a pause here to our clerk. Did you have anything you want to report?
Thank you, Worship. So we're just looking through the special event bylaw, and as I thought, there isn't a limit on the amount of special events, but a special event license is not related to the use of the property in relation to the planning department. So we look at just the special event license and the parameters that are laid out in there. And working with the planning department, I know bylaw enforcement also circulates to them when we do get a special event license to make sure the use of the property is in conformancy. So.
Okay. Marty, are you comfortable with that answer? All right. So we don't need to review that. Council, I've got the bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting. Recommendation be it resolved that bylaw 23-101 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings November 13, 2023. Council meeting be presented to read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 13th day of November 2023. Mr. Beelan? Mr. Walker? Thank you. Council, you've got a bylaw. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. The confirmatory. right, council, motion to adjourn. We're at the end of our meeting. Recommendation, be it resolved that the council meeting be adjourned, and it'll be 6:27 PM. And I'll take a mover. Mr. Deputy Mayor, seconder, Ms. Deneen, thank you very much. All those in favor? And that carries. So this council meeting is now adjourned, and thank you very much. Have a terrific day, everyone. Bye-bye.